What is up, y'all, and welcome to the patch note rundown for patch 13.16, and here is the patch highlights right here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through all the notes, and I'll be giving you guys my thoughts on the changes and some meta predictions. Now, who am I to predict the meta? Well, I've played Auto Battler since the Dodo Auto Chess mod and since set 1. I've hit Challenger or Peak Challenger every set since set 4, and I've successfully predicted every single meta this set. So that is my credentials here. And I'm pretty good at doing these things. So let's just get into it. Okay, so system changes. Raptors, your final item component from Raptors will be replaced with a component anvil. So this is a great change. This is so that you never end the game with one item component and then you get dropped one item from the Raptors and you're just forced to make whatever item. They're instituting the final component, and Mortdog did say they're going to try to make this a permanent feature of TFT. This was something they added in the past before, but they removed it this set because they thought there were too many decisions you had to make this set. But then they're just like, all right, that's some dumb logic. So we're just going to keep it in here forever. So expect the final component anvil to be in the game forever now. Okay, region portals. So some of the things are changing. So Bandle City portal to a Noxus portal. So that's the one where you get the free the free Yordle, or the Yordle portal, right? Every twice a stage or whatever. They're changing this just so that Noxus Rise gets played, because the Noxus portals, no one plays them. It's like Nox Cry is okay, but like Immortal Bastion, who wants to play Immortal Bastion, man? So they're just making this one of these so that it's not always Yordles. and so Noxus Rise actually gets played. Hall of 9 was way too crazy, so they're dialing back the craziness a little bit. So Hall of 9 will now be reduced on stage 4. So you'll no longer, or on stage 5, I mean, you'll no longer get a 2-star legendary unit on 5-1. It'll now be on 6-1 instead. So that is no longer possible. Basically, they just moved the gold down quite a bit. So the variance isn't so crazy, because that's the worst thing about Hall of 9 is how crazy the variance is on stage 5. It's just like ridiculous sometimes. Cool. Okay, so here are the traits. So Demacia is getting changed a little bit. They want you to try to play the vertical, and there are some changes to Kale in here as well, so we'll get into that in a second. But they want you to try to play the vertical. Essentially, right now, no one plays Demacia vertical. You just play 3 Demacia. So they're changing it from 1, 2, 3, 5, this is the elite count, to 1, 2, 4, 6. So maybe give vertical Demacia a try, especially if you get an early 2-star Kale. You want to go like fast 9. Maybe give that a try, especially with some of the Kale changes we'll have in here. So the Demacia armor and MR is getting changed a little bit. So 5-5 is the same. So they're keeping 3 the same for obvious reasons. And then 25 to 30. And then this is actually going down here, the 60 to 50. So it's weird. They want you to play the vertical. Oh, because it's just compensation because they're giving you more elites. Okay, that makes sense. They don't want it to be too OP. They're being cautious about this, but it is overall a buff because you get more elites. So maybe give it a try if you'd like. It's as well as the Kale changes make it a little bit more possible. So Gunner is getting buffed on 4. I know what you're thinking, Zeri, but essentially nobody plays 4 Gunner right now unless you have Gunner Emblem. You play Zon Zeri or Freljord Zeri is always better. So that's why they are changing this a little bit to buff 4 and 6. So maybe give it a try. There are some Zeri nerfs if you guys are worried about how OP Zeri has been on this last patch. Don't worry, there are some Zeri nerfs and some Aphelios compensation buffs and some buffs to Azir to make him better as well. Multicast damage reduction. So this is actually a nerf, so this is damage reduction, right? But keep in mind, all of the pretty much all the multicasters are getting some love here, and Vel'Koz's bug is getting fixed. So I think multicasters might end up being meta. That's going to be like my kind of guess of this patch, is if multicasters are meta or not. I'm not really that sure because they haven't been meta for so long. Okay, Sona Crescendo, bonus attack speed is getting buffed. I think they will be, guys. They're buffing all of them, and now that I'm looking at it. Talia is getting buffed here. You see at all levels, Talia is getting buffed. So maybe try that Double Trouble set comp again, especially if you get the boss, because they buff the boss again. They buff the boss every patch. So I think maybe the boss with Talia might be viable. You know, that's such an augment-specific comp, but maybe give that a try this patch. Sounds really fun. And then Teemo continues to be the worst unit in the game. So they are buffing him again pretty much at all levels here. And then Vel'Koz is getting a small buff, but Vel'Koz is also getting bug fixed. So if you guys have played a lot of Vel'Koz, you may have noticed his spell does fizzle sometimes. It should not fizzle as often anymore. You know, maybe it'll still fizzle sometimes. But guys, Multicaster is getting a lot of buffs here. You know, as we said, this is a nerf right here. But getting a lot of buffs, and Vel'Koz bug getting fixed. Swain is getting nerfed, which is something that's really strong in this comp, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Guys, maybe give multicaster comps a try this patch if you want to. And then also maybe try that Double Trouble Talia set comp with the boss, or with Double Trouble, or with True Twos. That might be viable again, even after Set's nerfs. Talia is getting a buff here, so maybe give that a try if you guys really like that comp. Okay, Shadow Isles is getting buffed on the 2 trait, because essentially nobody plays the 2 trait. You don't notice the 2 trait, right? You just play a random Gwen and Challenger comp sometimes. You just play Senna in every comp because she's good, but you never really worry about getting Shadow Isles in. So they're trying to make you want to play 2 Shadow Isles a little bit more. The vertical is performing quite well, so that's why you won't see any buffs here for the vertical. You actually see a nerf on the vertical here, down by 10% at 6, but 6 is very strong if you have multiple emblems and that sort of thing. So yeah. So guys, Shadow Isle is getting buffed at 2, so it's a little bit more worth the play now. That's very good. Shurima is getting buffed, so the Ascension bonus health is going up to 33%. That's pretty nice because that's 3% on your whole team if you're running vertical. And then the vertical 7 Shurima is getting buffed. I would have liked some type of buff on 5 Shurima maybe. The thing about Shurima is, rather than 7, the thing about Shurima is 7 Shurima feels quite nice, but 5 doesn't feel that good. And Shurima has just not been meta for so long. Maybe it will be meta this patch. They are buffing Azir as well and nerfing Zeri. I always think the problem with Shurima is Shurima can't use the Freljord frontline, and the Freljord 3 Freljord is just so broken. And so that's a big problem with Shurima's build, and that's why it's been so hard for this comp to be meta. But I think if you guys get a Shurima emblem or you're on Bandle Cafeteria, I think Shurima will definitely be viable this patch. Whether or not Azir's buffs and this buff, it really means a lot. But some of the other builds like Zeri is going down a little bit. And this nice little buff here is probably enough to make it viable, especially if you have the Shurima emblem and you can get the 7 Shurima. That looks pretty nice there. Okay, so a lot of changes to Zon here. So the Adaptive Implant, AD, and AP and Omnivamp is getting buffed because that one is not super good. Robotic Arm is going down because that is the best one. Unstable Chem Tank, you guys have seen the Jarvans jumping on your backline. It is going from 45% to 35%. This will still be good. Guys, if you get the high roll Chem Tech, 6 Zon, Jarvan, this will still be good. It is just not going to one-shot their entire board. That is their goal of this change, but it will still be good. Trust me. Okay, Hextech Exoskeleton Max Health Heal is going up. And then we have Hextech Exoskeleton now cleanses all debuffs. So all debuffs, this is going to be a really good one onto Urgot. This one's going to be great on Urgot. Urgot does receive some nerfs here, but this is going to be great for Urgot. This is probably his best one now, for sure. And then Zon Hextech Exoskeleton overcharge damage no longer triggers on Sion's revive. If you guys have played 6 Zon with Sion, it is ridiculous. Once he revives, he'll do like 4k damage. And that is not intended. That was a bug. So that is fixed. That's the Sexo Sion build. Anyways, all right, units. We're adjusting Kale. And guys, I'm going to be completely honest on this Kale change. I am not sure at all if this makes Kale reroll no longer viable. I am not a Kale player. There are changes for Kale right here. The intention is that you can actually play Kale as an item holder. If you played this set at all, Kale has never been an item holder. She is just only a reroll build. You never hold items on her. You'd rather put it on Samira 1 or Gen 1 most of the time. So they're buffing her base stats. So her base on-hit damage is getting buffed. So guys, maybe give her a try as an item holder for like Rage Blade, Shiv, and that sort of thing. Or AP lines like Archangels, that sort of thing. So maybe give her a try for that because they are buffing the on-hit AP damage right there. So give that a try. I am not certain what this does a reroll. I'm not a Kale player. Kale players out there can help you out. Okay, Orianna now resumes attacking more quickly after casting her command. So if you guys have noticed, if you played Orianna, especially if you tried to play Cho Bidem, like the reroll with Ori, you've probably noticed that she sucks because she'll just... she throws out her shield and you're just like, please, Ori, auto-attack them. And then when she finally auto-attacks them, she one-shots them, but she takes forever. She just like self-CCs herself for 2 seconds for no reason. So that is going to be reduced quite a bit, at least by 50%. So guys, maybe give Orianna a try, especially as an item holder. I think she's going to be a lot better. You know what is kind of spooky about this? This is another way to play Piltover. I mean, Piltover, you want a lost streak anyways, but Piltover 2-1 is like the most broken thing you can possibly get in this set right now, and it is not getting nerfed at all. So that is still going to be crazy, and Ori will be a little bit stronger in that build if you end up having to cash out with her on your board. So that's something that's nice there. But if you guys want to try the Cho Bidem board, Orianna is going to be a lot better. So maybe you actually have a better backline carry along with the Malzahar there. So maybe give that a try. But I think Ori will be a lot better as an item holder this patch. So Samira is getting a lot of changes. So if you're not in the know, you see this AD ratio going up 175% to 200, and you're like, oh my God, they're buffing Samira. No. The thing that makes Samira OP. One is her really low mana, that is going to be unchanged. But also her armor reduction is insane, and she can reduce past 0. So you probably see a lot of people run like Trickster's class Samira or 2 Samiras because they just like shred one and then they shred the other, and then they're in negative armor. And once they're in negative armor, it starts to like multiply their damage. It gets really insane. That's what makes Samira broken. So Samira is still going to be great as an item holder, but you'll actually want to build an item like Last Whisper on her before you just build blue buff, or you could build Jewel Gauntlet because the AP just made her shred so much armor, and building armor did nothing to just stop her from dealing damage. So now you'll actually want to build a Last Whisper on Samira. So maybe Samira will still be viable with a different item set. Definitely you'll play her a little bit different than you did before. So she may still be viable. Swain is getting some nerfs, but we'll just have to see how this shakes out. But probably you want to play Last Whisper on her now. Okay, Ashe is getting some changes. So they really want to make Ashe reroll work. And the problem with Ashe reroll is not that Ashe reroll is bad. It's that Ashe is the most contested unit in the game. Because, as I said, the 3 Freljord team comp is so broken. And so any AD comp is going to run Ashe. And every game, you're going to have 3 to 4 AP or AD players in most metas. And especially in last meta, you'd have loads of Zeri players. There's Ashe on everyone's board. Ashe is a great filler unit for any board. So I don't think Ashe reroll is viable. I mean, if you have the angle, you can do it, but it's just the unit is way too contested. It's so impossible to hit. So let's talk about some of these changes here. So if you guys have been playing Ashe and actually putting items on her, Ashe is a really good item holder now. She's really good with off-carry items. Like sometimes I'll even put my Urgot items onto Ashe. Like if I don't get like BT Titans and like stuff like that, and I get like Rageblade IE, I'll just put it on my Ashe, dude, in Deadeye builds. And dude, she'll outdamage my Aphelios sometimes. It's kind of crazy. But Aphelios is getting better. That was maybe an Aphelios problem. So typically, another way that you'd play Ashe is you just build Sojin plus Morello plus Last Whisper, and it's kind of nuts. Like the value she gives to your team is insane. But I think that build is a little bit different. I think you can still do that build, but if you have some free items to put onto Ashe, something like a Rageblade is going to be better than Sojin on this patch because they did buff her base attack speed. So if you guys have an extra Rageblade somehow, you can toss it onto your Ashe. But if not, you just put the Sojin there. It is hard to have multiple Rageblades, especially if you want a Rageblade on your Aphelios, and then you have another Rageblade. Sometimes you just put both on your Aphelios. But if you have that extra Rageblade, maybe give it to Ashe. I think it is slightly better than Sojin on this patch, but Sojin is an easier item to build because it's a good way to get rid of tiers and AD builds. But just look out for that. They're buffing her AD ratio, so she's even better AD item holder. If you guys are not playing Ashe as an AD item holder, then you should be playing her as an AD item holder this patch. You'd have to do the annoying thing where you have to sell her and remake her if you don't have an item remover, but it is well worth it because she is a great item holder at 2-star. If you can get her 2-starred early, great item holder. She will carry your mid game. So Galio is getting buffed because essentially no one plays Galio. So remember, guys, they buffed Vertical Demacia. So guys, maybe give Vertical Demacia a try with Kale as an item holder. Maybe go Fast 9 2-star Kale. That might be a viable play pattern in this match because they are buffing a lot of stuff in the Demacia tree. So Galio's damage reduction is going up a little bit. We'll see what that does to him. Okay, Kled is getting buffed as well. Kled is a unit that will go into that Vertical Demacia build. That'll go into Kale's build. Getting a small buff here. So, guys, again, I'm not a big Kale player, but I think maybe the Fast 9 2-star Kale strategy might be viable. Vertical Demacias, and you just toss in some Slayers. They are buffing some of the things in the build. So maybe give that a try. So Swain is getting nerfed, and this is the nerf that he needs as a starting mana, because right now, if you guys have played Swain, Swain is the best frontliner on Stage 2 and Stage 3, the absolute GOAT, undisputed king of those stages. If you have Noxus or you have 4 Sorks, he is unbelievably tanky. So they are taking down, this is great right here, because if he casts twice, he is immortal. So he'll be much less likely to cast twice without a mana item like Protector's Vow. He'll be much less likely. So this actually buffs Protector's Vow, because Protector's Vow is going to be quite a good item on Swain. It already is, but it's going to be quite good on him. Okay, Swain Demon Flare Transform. It's going down at the 2 and 3 star, or at the 1 and 2 star, but buffed at the 3 stars. So that's what I'm saying. If you guys want to play that set Talia Swain build, it's actually buffed at 3 star, but the path to get there is a little bit tougher with your Swain. But you can main tank set instead. So those reroll builds are a little bit stronger, making it to where maybe those reroll builds are more viable too, because Swain is going to be less of a powerhouse as just a random frontliner. So he'll be less contested on next patch. So guys, look out for that Talia build. I think that could be viable in this patch. Swain is now classified as a magic tank. Cool. Talia's shove damage is getting buffed here. I thought we already saw this. This is just a repeat. We already saw this. And then Teemo's multicast mushroom bounce is being reverted. So what they did last patch is they made it to like smart targeting where it bounced behind it, so you could do some positioning stuff. But they just found that it was kind of unintuitive, and it actually works out better for the Teemo player if it pops out randomly. So they're going back to random. So we'll see how that works. Okay, we got some buffs here to Garen. So another buff to that Demacia line. So Garen is getting buffed because he has still not really been working. If Garen reroll ends up being strong, maybe TF will be back in the meta and you can like hard force this build if it's like not very contested. I don't think this build is going to be super strong, but maybe it's strong enough that where you can force it because no one is going to be playing it. You know, people are going to be rerolling some other stuff or playing other 3-cost comps, and maybe it's going to be viable. So maybe give it a try. I don't know. We'll see. But another buff to the Demacia line. I do think that Fast 9 thing might be a strategy this patch, now that I'm reading a lot of this. So Callista is getting buffed. So her Pierce and Rend spear damage, so this is per spear, is going up. This is actually quite a lot once you get the vertical challengers going, or once you have a Rage Blade on your Callista, because each spear is going to do more. So once you get her attacking super fast, she'll be able to pop those tanks a little bit faster. So I think Callista is going to be a great item holder in the early game right now with these buffs, because it is a buff at 1 star as well. So if you get her dropped in stage 2 and you have a bow, probably keep your Callista and play around Callista on this patch. It's going to be quite nice, especially with Samira getting nerfed. Basically, right now, you would play Samira over Callista because Samira was broken, but maybe actually Callista is going to be the better item holder in the early game now. We'll see. Okay, so Vel'Koz, we already saw his damage buff, but Vel'Koz fission missile will now follow the initial target, and then if the target dies while the missile is in flight, the missile will travel to the location before splitting. So before, what it would do is it would just fizzle. It would hit the target and it would just disappear if they died. So it's not great. So they're making some changes to Shin here and stuff. We'll get into that in a second. But Aphelios is getting that love that we really wanted him to get on last patch. I was really kind of mind blown that last patch they didn't buff Aphelios. The fact that they buffed Zeri's build last patch when she was already overperforming Aphelios by a wide margin, and then they didn't buff Aphelios kind of blew my fucking mind. But hey, they're making good on it now because they are buffing Aphelios' Chakram AD ratio, as well as they increase the speed of the Moonlight Sigil. So whenever he ults, it is much less likely to miss, and it will try to track a little bit better to where the targets are moving instead of just missing. Because if he misses, he doesn't deal any damage with his ults, and he doesn't build up chakram. So it's like really bad. So this is a really nice buff. This is the buff we wanted to see, and I think Aphelios, especially with Freljord not getting nerfed, and Ashe got buffed. Dude, I think Aphelios would be really good next patch. And they're also buffing Shin as a base tank, and Shin is a great tank in Aphelios' build. So I think we might finally be in a meta where you can play 2 Deadeye, Aphelios carry, 3 Freljord, big tank line. We might finally be in that meta where Aphelios can actually solo carry a team. So give it a try. I think it'll be good on the first day of the patch. So give it a try for sure. Lux Torrent of Light can no longer reduce magic resist below 0. They're just taking that mechanic out of the game because it is quite broken whenever it happens. Lux will now turn her ability much quicker. If you're the Lux player and you're watching your Lux try to move her shit, it is really annoying. So they're making that variance a little bit lower. So that'll be a little bit nice quality of life change there. So Shin's Ionia damage reduction is going down because Shin is really strong in Ionia build, but not nearly as strong. You usually always put your tank items on Sejuani instead of Shin if you're running both in a comp, which you should want to like think about which one you want the items on. So that's our goal here. So getting buffed, the shield amount is by 50. And remember, he's going to cast it on himself and 2 others. So that is actually 150 bonus there. And then so it's a 50 bonus there, and then we don't care about the 3-star. Shin is now slightly larger. Very cool. Yasuo's Last Breath no longer scales with attack range, which... So this is a nice change because it is really annoying. Especially Yasuo will be sitting in that 50-50 spot where he's 3rd hex from the end, and it's like there's a 50-50 on where he goes, and then if he 50-50 goes on your carry, I guess I lose. And then if he goes the other one, I guess I win. So they're taking that variance out of the game. It does remove a little bit of like cool play patterns for people who really like playing Yasuo, but I think this is a good change. I think it's a great quality of life change, but they're giving him a lot of buffs here in compensation. I do not think he needs these compensation buffs. But I think Yasuo is going to be really good next match. I do not think he needs these compensation buffs. He's getting 50 health, cool, but his damage ratio is going up. I think people were already not building this item as much. I think in Hyrule, a lot of people were saying that RFC was an overrated item. You know, people like Soju who plays this comp a lot. I mean, you play the RFC if you get it right, you know. But like, I think a lot of people were building like Edge of Night, IE. even though a lot of people didn't like IE. I think a lot of people were doing like Edge of Night IE, Hodge, Edge of Night, Runan's Deathblade. I think a lot of people were going these more aggressive builds just with the Edge of Night, and they were performing really, really, really well. So I do not think he needs these compensation buffs. I do not think he needs this. And then they're buffing his last breath AP ratio a little bit. So if you're running like social distancing or anything like that, it's going to be a little bit nice. But guys, I think Yasuo is going to be really good next patch. So if you guys like playing challengers, you got the angle, play it. I think it's going to be good, especially with Zeri getting nerfed. It's going to be another good AD line to play for Yasuo at least. So Urgot's Disdain shield amount is going down. Urgot's pretty OP right now, and his AD ratio is going down. So Urgot small nerf right here. So this is definitely going to hurt Zeri's build and somewhat Aphelios build. I think Aphelios' build is finally going to be where he can solo carry with Ashe as like a secondary carry with maybe some Senna stuff going on. Maybe you run some Gwen. Maybe run some Senna Gwen. I think that could be some tech now. So this definitely hurts Zeri's build the most, more than Aphelios. Zeri's surge duration is going down by a second, and then her lightning AD ratio is going down a little bit. That's going to hurt the Deathblade build a little bit, which is the most common build right now. I think Zeri's still going to be good. Zeri was too OP this patch, and finally, I think Aphelios will be competitive with Zeri as the premier 4-cost AD carry. So if you guys want to play AD, I think you straight up, you just flex evenly between Zeri and Aphelios. Whereas the current patch, you look to play Zeri, and if you just can't hit Zeri, I guess I play Aphelios, man. Fuck. So I think you actually do a realistic flex between those two. So I think this is actually going to put these put the AD carries into a good spot. Okay, so Aatrox is getting a lot of changes here. So his World Ender duration is going to go up. So if you guys like playing the legendary comps, they are nerfing a lot of the legendary units, by the way. They really want to nerf the A-Soul strategy. A-Soul strategy is still performing super well. But Aatrox is getting a nice little buff here, which is cool. It goes up 12 seconds. So if you guys actually want to itemize Aatrox, I love itemizing Aatrox. He's going to be buffed. But his utility as a random unit you splash on your board is going down, which honestly makes me kind of sad because I love putting Aatrox on my board. He is getting nerfed. It was at 500 before. Now it's at 400. Now it's at 350. So his AD ratio that he gives to your team is not going to be quite as good, but he's going to be a lot better with items. So if you want to play a Slayer build or you get a random 2-star Aatrox, he's going to be a lot better to put items on. If you guys want to know some items to put on him, it sounds counterintuitive, but I really like BT Titans IE. Like, man, he can really go to work. I know a lot of people don't like IE right now, but I think it's good on Aatrox. When he's critting on that backline, it's like, ooh, oh, it's quite nice. Anyways, all right. Ahri's Essence Theft Mana Reave is going down by 10%. That's a lot. This is really annoying when Ahri Mana Reaves your Jarvan or something like that. So that's nice. Ahri's Thief damage, so this is her first 2 casts, are going down by 10, and that's on 3 different targets, so that's actually 30. And then going down by 15 there, and then we don't care about the 3-star. And then her big Wave Boom is going down as well by 20, and then by 15. And remember, this is going to affect her AP ratio as well. So if you're going into the Stork verticals or anything like that, this is actually a huge nerf because she hits the whole board. So this is like, when you minus 20, that's like, times 6 units on the enemy board, you get it. That's quite a bit. So that's quite a bit of damage reduction there, but she's still going to be good if you guys get her online, that sort of thing, but she's not going to be as much as like the 1-star Ahri one-shot the whole board. I think this is putting legendaries in a much better spot. I don't think people should be able to every prismatic lobby just go fast 9 and play legendaries. That's like really annoying. So that strategy is going to be a lot weaker. Bel'Veth, her damage is going down by 5 per strike, and that's quite a bit. Remember, she strikes a lot on both, so it's 5 and 5 right there. And then Bel'Veth, total number of strikes, 6 per 100% total attack speed, 6 to 5 per 100% attack speed. So that's quite a bit as well. So big nerf to Bel'Veth. So Aatrox is probably the best item holder, best AD item holder now. I already thought he was pretty good. So he's probably the best AD item holder if you have those good items that I talked about before. Heimerdinger Techno Genius is getting reworked, the Repair-O-Matic. So repair duration is now a flat 7 seconds at all levels. And then so stacking multiple copies of Repair-O-Matic now instead grant the Apex start bonus armor and MR. So if you're in those situations, like maybe you're playing like an Aphelios comp and you just need more frontline, you haven't hit some frontline units, but you hit a Heimerdinger, actually give some thoughts to going like repair Mechano or repair Shrinko, depending on what you need for your comp, and actually frontline the turret. So the turret will be a lot more tanky. So 10, and then 50, and then 100. So actually you want to go repair if you need a lot of frontline. That's going to be quite nice, especially if you hit that 2-star Heimerdinger. So if you need frontline, you can actually like tech in a Heimerdinger for frontline, which is not really something you really do that much right now. So Mechano is getting nerfed. Mechano has been really, really, really OP, but I do think in those comps where you want a secondary carry, you probably still will go Mechano, Shrinko. But in certain spots, you might want to go Shrinko, Meccano. So, but Meccano's still going to be really good. Don't worry about that. All right, Bandle City Rise will now star up the units you pull in on Rise based on Rise's star level. So this is really cool because you don't actually have to hold like a 2-star Aatrox on your bench, like we had in the past with this unit and with like Thresh in the past. You actually 2-star legendary units and leave them on your bench. It's gonna be a lot easier to play this Rise because you just have to hold 1 stars on your bench if Rise is 2-star. That's really cool. Ionia is getting a mana buff, it says. This looks like a mana nerf. That's a mana nerf. Okay, that makes sense to me because Ionia is quite good. Okay, and then the damage is the same, and then the heal is getting nerfed at 2-star. That makes complete sense to me. Piltover Rise getting buffed is strange to me. I played a lot of the ASOL strat, and this is the best one. This is my favorite one to play whenever I'm playing Ahri, because if he casts at the same time that Ahri casts, like that spread damage from the extra damage share is insane. And like you'll see your Rise 1 do like 3k in a fight if he times it right with the Ahri. So I think that's pretty strange, but maybe he's underperforming in other comps, but in the legendary comps he's quite strong. But they are nerfing the legendary comp. Targon Rise getting buffed is also strange to me. I think Targon Rise is one of the best ones. I really like Targon Rise. So I think this is weird. Zaun Rise is getting nerfed. They did buff Zaun Rise on last patch to make him easier to play. And it's just kind of weird whenever Zaun Rise will randomly carry a fight with no items. Like I've been playing some Invoker tech, and then like sometimes my no item Rise and 6 Invokers will just do like 4k damage. Rise 1, and that seems kind of wrong. So they're nerfing him a little bit to make him cast a little bit slower. Senna's Redeemer passive is going down. They're nerfing Senna and Sign because right now they are the best plug-and-play legendaries along with Heimerdinger, but Heimerdinger has the caveat that you have to invest into him. So they're nerfing all of the like plug-and-play legendaries. I think it's a good sign. Should make that legendary strat a lot weaker. But the guys still play Scion. He's still going to be good. Still play Senna when you hit Senna. They're still going to be great. They're just not as good. Okay, so some augment changes here. Ascension damage amp is going up. Ascension is just so hard to play, guys. The combat is so fast in this set. The fight is completely decided in the first 8 seconds of the fight. That's why you don't see anybody taking Ascension. Does this change anything? I don't think so, unless the meta is somehow a lot slower. Maybe with Shurimas Shurimas are going to be meta and or like more playable with Aphelios. Those are some more slow fights. So maybe Ascension will be good if people are playing Aphelios and Azir. Ascension should be good. But if that's not dominating the meta and the meta is kind of spread out, which I actually think it's going to be, I think the meta is going to be very flex. I still don't think Ascension is very good. But in lobbies where a lot of people are playing Aphelios and Shurimas, those combats are slow. So maybe give it a try in that one. Okay, so Challenger Crown now grants Rapid Fire Cannon. Oh, it goes from Hand of Justice. That's probably better because that's the item you want on Yasuo. It's a very good item on Yasuo. Whereas RFC is just more so an item that, because you can't put RFC on Yasuo. This makes a lot of sense. Okay, cool. Dueling Gunners is getting buffed. Again, they want to make 4 Gunners a little bit more viable because basically no one plays it right now because the Freljord front line is so broken. So maybe give it a try. Endless Horde now only gives 6 gold. This has been performing super well. Added Endless Hordes at 4-2 only and gives 9 gold. Endless Horde plus. Okay. Frequent flyer rolls are required. So if you guys are playing a 2 or 3 cost reroll build when you get this offered, I think this would be really good. You only have to roll 8 times before you start getting the frequent flyer benefits. So guys, I think this augment is quite takeable if you're going to be playing a 3 or 2 cost reroll. You're playing like Talia reroll, something like that. I think this is quite good now. Haunted Shell is getting buffed. Basically, you never take this. But if you guys want to play some vertical Shadow Owls, give it a try now. Could be good. Or even just in Challenger build, whenever you add in Gwen, getting those extra resists on your like Kaisa and Callista at the end of the fight can be quite nice. So maybe give that a try. League Game Specialist can no longer be offered with level up. So basically, if you guys have been playing, especially if you've been playing in higher ELO, especially in ASOL patches, if you get level up plus Late Game Specialist, you just win the game for free because you can go to 9 as 0 gold and then have enough gold to hit everything you need, which is crazy. So that has been removed. You can go 9 like 2 rounds earlier than you would without it. Mana Burn has been re-enabled. Cool. Parting Gifts shield is now added after the item is granted rather than before. Cool. Perfected Repetition is the multicaster augment. AP per cast. Guys, again, if you guys are high-rolling multicasters, they really want them playable again. I think give it a try if you guys really like playing multicasters. They buffed the build quite a bit. Portable Forge choices. Armory is 2, 3, 4 based on stages. Woo! They're nerfing Ornn, guys. Finally. Ornn is not going to be the legend that every single person takes. So, guys, if you're big Ornn players, pour one out for you guys. But, hey, get onto the Earth tech. Get onto the Caitlyn tech. Get onto the, get onto the Vlad tech. There's other good legends out there, guys. I promise you. So maybe give those a try next patch. I think Ornn will be a lot weaker than next patch. Riftwalk is going down a little bit. I think it's kind of weird. I don't know. I've never really thought that build was that good. Return on investment reroll is required. So, guys, if you get these reroll augments and you're playing like multicasters and stuff, or Talia or whatever, like this got buffed a lot. It pays to learn is getting nerfed again. Wow. Okay, guys, that they really don't want the ASOL strat to be viable. I don't think you play ASOL anymore. Maybe you can play it in prismatic lobbies. Just take it and play it in prismatic lobbies. That can still be good. Because I think ASOL's gold and prismatic on 2-1 is good regardless if you want to go fast 9. But they really don't want you guys to play this anymore. So rework Shimmering Inventors, Piltover unit bonus per gold 10 is... The attack speed is going down from 10% to 8%. Okay. Shimmering Inventors maximum bonus gold at 50 is going down 50% attack speed, 40% attack speed. That's just pulling it in line with the ratio. So they are nerfing Shurima's Legacy. Shurima's Legacy is pretty much last patch. That's the only way you can play Shurima's. If you get this offered, it's OP. And if you don't get this, you can't play Shurima's. But they are nerfing. Remember, they buff Shurima's and they're going to buff Azir here. I believe they buff Azir by a small amount, unless they removed it. It was on Mortdog's patch notes, but I'm not sure if it made it to the final cuts here. But yeah, so Shurima's Legacy is nerfed a little bit. This is still going to be good if you want to play Shurima. So if you get this offered and you have some angle to play Shurima's, take it. It's still going to be good. Boss is getting buffed again. This is what I'm saying. And then Boss will now cleanse the healing debuff. This is a really big buff right here. Because a lot of times I've fought against the boss, I'm like, when I heal introduce him, I'm like, haha, he's gonna be stuck on the bench forever. I mean, he's gonna get stronger, but he's gonna be stuck there forever. And then Too Healthy is getting buffed again. So guys, I really think that Talia build is gonna be playable. So give that a try if you guys like it. What the Forge, you're now slightly less likely to get multiple copies of the same item, especially Obsidian Cleaver. God bless. They're nerfing Shimmerscale items. So Shimmerscale has been performing quite well this set. I think a lot of people stopped taking it as often, but they're nerfing them across the board. So I think this is going to be a lot worse. And then on Ornn items right here, so Trickster's Glass is getting nerfed. It's going down by 10. And then the mana increase is getting nerfed as well. So like it's 10% mana increase. So this item is going to be a lot harder to play. This was one of the best Ornn items. I mean, it's probably the best Ornn item, especially in the early game. So I do think Ornn is getting a lot of nerfs here. And then they're buffing Zhonya's Paradox, because Zhonya's Paradox is the worst Ornn item on stage 2, stage 3, but it can be quite good at the end game on something like Kayle, Callista, Kai'Sa, but it's really hard to play around the early game. That's why they're buffing it. Guys, if you like playing Ornn, I think you can still play Ornn. But the variance has increased quite a bit because you only get 2 options now on 2-1. I think if you guys are Ornn enjoyers, but you're like kind of on the outs on Ornn already, if you're kind of like ready to jump fence anyways, guys, give Caitlyn, give Vlad, give all of them a try. Give Master Yi a try this patch. He's good with Aphelios and stuff. So give those guys a try. Units, if Poppy's putting her... why am I even reading that? So 4-star Poppy will now be more consistently hitting large clumps. Viego is getting buffed. So big buff to Kayle reroll right here, guys, right there. Again, I'm not a Kayle reroll player, so I don't know how hard her nerfs actually hurts the build. But they did buff Kled, they buff Viego, they buff Poppy. So maybe give that a try. And also buff to Tristana's build as well. So maybe Tristana will be a little bit more viable this patch. Azir damage is getting buffed. Only 5 on 1-star. That's okay. But 10 on 2-star. Remember, he's summoning like 3 soldiers. He's attacking a lot. So this is actually a big buff, even though it only looks like 10. I think Azir will finally be viable, especially if you have a Shurima emblem. It's going to be a lot easier to play this year. So give Azir a try next patch. I think he could be quite good. Death's Defiance attack speed going down. See another nerf to an Ornn item. And Death's Defiance bleed no longer gets cleansed by Edge of Night. That was happening, by the way. Zon now states that benching a champion or remove its Zon mod. Cool. That's just some nice tooltip there. And then 2 healthy and 3's a crowd now specify that only unique champions count towards the bonus health. This was already in the game. It just didn't specify it in the tooltip. Okay, so we got some bug fixes here. Fix a bug where Recombobulator could use the strongest unit calculation to behave weirdly. Okay, fix a bug where Rek'Sai spell was scaling twice as much as intended with damage amp. Okay, that's why IE felt quite nice. Not dead at York's Graveyard no longer grants an item on a player that triggers last stand or finals reserve. This was hilarious. Whenever someone would trigger this and they have a fawn and the whole lobby gets a fawn and they're just fucked. That was so funny. Champions grant because you give everyone else a fawn. Champions granted by Stars Are Born now properly start up in Ghost Armies. Very cool. Rolling for days, Augment no longer fails to make the first reroll a carousel free roll. Shimmer Injector now correctly prevents being executed before it procs. Cool. Rek'Sai will no longer execute Taric if his shield, if he is shielding her target when she tries to execute them. I saw this on a duck video, I think. Thresh's Sanctum now works on Hyper Roll. Cool. Crown of Demacia no longer work. Okay, double up. Who cares? Double up. Who cares? Zed now gets the correct bonus from Ionia 9. Okay, who cares? Senna and Scion will now apply the Morello burn. Okay, cool. Very good. This was working on Ashe already, but was not working on Senna. So you guys put Morello on Senna now. Bonus health on Kim Mod. Kim Tex will be now be updated immediately. Cool. Okay, Teemo 1-star now correct spell damage value. Cool. Glass Industries now correctly grants gold when you build craftable emblems on the. Oh wow, that's an annoying bug. Fixed a mission that could not be completed as it was required to sell an ETX. Very cool. Dedication will no longer break if you filled 4 units that does not have an emblem. Very cool. Undeserved stardom, the Taylor Swift experience. Fix an exploit that could allow you to have a 4-star Yordle without having 3 stars active. Okay. If multiple blacksmith's gloves roll trickster's glass, they will now all clone the correct unit. Oh my god. Okay, this is just an animation thing. VFX, who cares? TB Little Legends, Little Legend stuff. So, okay, so what do I think is going to be meta next patch? Guys, I think this is going to be the best patch of the set. These are a lot of small changes. So the things to look out for on day one, I think 80 flex is still going to be really good, but actually is going to be 80 flex. Like right now, basically, you just play Zeri, and if you don't hit Zeri, you settle with Aphelios. But I think Aphelios' build got buffed a lot. They buffed Ashe, they buffed Aphelios, and they buffed Shin, which is a frontliner you play in his build. So I think actually give Aphelios solo carry a try. You know, and maybe you run some like Gwen Tech with Shadow Isles. I did buff Shadow Isles. You know, maybe if you hit the Senna, you run some Gwen Tech. I think it'll actually be viable to run solo carry Aphelios. Basically, right now, if you try to run solo carry Aphelios with just a huge front line, it sucks. I think Shurima's, especially if you get the emblem drop, is going to be good. They buffed Talia's reroll build a lot. They buffed Set. That boss buff was really nice. If you get the boss drop, they buffed True Twos. They didn't nerf Double Trouble, which is best for that comp as well. Swain 3-star got buffed, so the path to get to like where you're super strong on Talia's build is gonna be a little bit weaker. But once you have those 3 stars active, so guys, give that a try. Multicaster, regular multicaster reroll, maybe give that a try. Especially they buffed a lot of the reroll augments. It seems like they really want you guys to play 2 and 3 cost reroll. Tristana reroll might be playable again. They buffed Poppy. They buffed Viego. It was already like kind of playable but not super good. Yasuo got a big buff, and that build was already pretty good. And they're doing compensation buffs because they removed RFC, but a lot of high elo players were already thought that build was overrated, and we're just building him like Edge of Night, Deathblade, Runans. Like, that's a good build. Or like Hodge IE, especially Challenger Crown now gives you a Hodge. So if you want to do that full crit scaling, I think it can be quite good. If you guys like playing legendary units, give Aatrox a try, but I think the legendary strat is severely nerfed. Still plug and play Scion and Senna despite them being nerfed. It's going to be great. But yeah, I'm excited to play next patch. If no one's contesting Ashe for some reason, a lot of people are playing Shurimas and stuff, you could play Ashe reroll, but Ashe is, I think, will still be the most contested unit in the game, most likely. But guys, I'm really excited about this patch. As far as legends go, you guys are a huge Ornn enjoyer. Ornn is really good because his 3-2 and his 4-2 augments are pretty solid still. So you guys can still play him. But guys, maybe give Ezreal a try if you like having extra items. Ezreal has not been changed for a while and has already been kind of sleeper strong. If you guys like Caitlyn, Stars Are Born is really strong. Give Caitlyn a try. I think Vlad is going to be really good next patch. Vlad is really good with Shurima, is really good with Aphelios. Master Yi is really good with those comps as well. So maybe give those guys a try. And there was one other, Urf. Urf is good as well. So if you guys are Ornn enjoyers and you got to jump off the Ornn train, give those guys a try. Anyways, that is it for the video. Hope you guys enjoy the patch. I am going to actually try to hit Challenger next patch. I really haven't been playing lately. I have not been having fun. Guys, I don't know. This set has been really stale to me. But, you know, maybe that's some cope. I don't know. I haven't been having fun. But I'm going to make a big push. I always hit Challenger on regional patch. Which this is going to be the regional patch, which is the hardest patch, the most balanced patch, the patch where you have to play with fundamentals. So I'm going to really make a big effort at it because I don't want to be washed up. But anyway, so that's what we're doing. That's going to be it for the patch night rundown. I'll see you guys on the next one.